Welcome to the Canned Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. This is Season 3, Episode 46. And we are bringing you the world in a can this season. And we are still in California this episode. California is, in fact, the fourth largest wine producing area in the world. So there's no doubt there. But before we get into that, let's talk about our wine nerd word of the week, which is corked. Now, corked is a musty, moldy, wet cardboard smell and associated taste in a wine caused by a component called TCA. It's a very long chemical component, but it's a byproduct of fungi. And in 1 to 5% of bottled wines, this is an issue. Obviously, you won't have anything corked in a can because there's no cork present to introduce that fungi there. And speaking of cans, our can of the week is, let's turn it around here, is the Love Sparkling California Sparkling White Wine. And it's a 355 millimeter, fairly large can, which is in fact half a bottle. It's organically farmed, 12% alcohol by volume. The person behind it is Chris Broc of Broc Cellars in Berkeley, California. And he brews his wine in Berkeley, California. He's also involved in the Fox Hill Winery in Mendocino. And he started back in 2002 and was brokering his wine, meaning he was buying grapes from various wineries throughout California and using it to make very well-received wines. And Chris's thing is to make wines in a natural way, and make them tasty using organic and sustainably grown grapes. And this one is no exception. It's 95% Chenin Blanc, 5% Orange Muscat. And the Chenin Blanc grapes come from the Shell Creek vineyards. They're fermented in a stainless steel tank. And then they add a little bit of Chenin Blanc must to it. Then they transfer it to a pressurized tank while it's still got a little bit of sugar in it to allow it to be carbonated. And that's how they make this stuff. Now, where did I find it? Well, I found it just walking around the streets of New York City. I stepped into September Wines and Spirits at 100 Stanton Avenue at the corner of Stanton and Ludlow, and you can find them online at septemberwines.com. That's very easy. Had a nice chat with the person behind the desk, and they did have a California wine and in a can, so I was excited. The price point was a little bit more than you'd usually pay, but after reading up on Chris Brockway's techniques and the wine that's in here, I think it's probably a decent value. Now, the wine itself comes in a fancy labeled can that has some nice artwork on it. You can go to Broc Cellars website and find out all about their artist that is making that stuff. So that's that. And without any further ado, let's do what we do on the Canned Wine Podcast, which is to open wines and talk about it. It's a little bit cloudy, a kind of a straw-colored wine. It does have some legs to it, as you'd expect. Yeah, I'm tasting a kind of lemony taste, maybe some grapefruit. Very nice, nice tasting wine. What could you pair this one with? I would say seafoods, salads, maybe a light cheese or even a goat cheese, roast chickens, pad thai, some Indian food. I think it would go well with that. Shout out this week to our friends from New Jersey we were talking to. Hope you enjoy your trip to the Bruce Peninsula and you have some room in your canoe for a few cans of wine that we'd sure appreciate pictures from. This would also go well with halibut tacos for our friends up in Port Protection. If you can get your hands on some of this, you would probably enjoy it. And our head scratcher, the answer from last week was New York Wine Grower License number 1. Thank you to our friends in Virginia for jumping on that one and scoring that fabulous prize. So it's in the mail. And our not too difficult question for this week was, what year did Chris Brockway start making wine? If you need to rewind, I've told you earlier in here, and that's quite available for you. So in closing, thank you for tuning into the Canned Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. Always an adventure here. Remember to enjoy responsibly, and just because it comes in a can doesn't mean you can or should drink and drive. The Canned Wine Podcast is a Center Stage production. All rights reserved.